I'm so excited to talk to a fitness expert today about the importance of mental and physical resilience. Let me briefly introduce her before I bring her on. Jenn Zerling is also known as Jay-Z. Jenn is a fitness and age management expert and the mother of 2 children. She authored the book Breaking the Chains of Obesity: 107 Tools, along with Jay-Z Fitness Lifestyle course. She comes from a lifetime of athletics. However, her childhood nutrition was atrocious, which to this day plays a role in her daily state of conscious health decisions. On a personal level, she understands why people struggle through working with thousands of individuals and through her international credential in obesity management. Being born into a family of obesity, Jenn learned what it took to break her genetic chains, and she now wishes to help as many individuals as possible to do the same. Jenn holds a master's degree in kinesiology and over 13 years of clinical nutrition and fitness experience in the age management industry. Jenn has managed medical weight loss clinics, and while she currently practices through her company, Jay-Z Fitness, she also manages hundreds of patients in weight loss and optimal aging, working alongside some of the top physicians in age management medicine. Part-time, Jenn is an Orange Theory fitness coach, the resident nutritionist for all the Orange Theory fitness studios in Los Angeles. And she's also the fitness programmer for Matthew McConaughey's not-for-profit organization, JK Living, which is comprised of 30 after-school programs in various high schools across America. Jenn has presented in global conferences for physical education teachers and physicians. She designs and runs corporate wellness programs. Her expertise can be found through multiple online, TV, and print resources such as the Huffington Post, Shape Magazine, LA Times, Yahoo News, New York Smash, Active.com, Oprah.com, Fox News, E! News, and NBC, just to name a few.
Hello.
Hi, Jenn. I'm good. How are you doing?
Nice to see you.
Good seeing you. So I was just introducing you and doing the intro, and you have quite an impressive background. You have so much information that you're going to share, and you have such a great background that I can't wait for everybody to get to know you. But before we get started, I know that there's a lot that went on with you this past. Want you to talk about that, but before we get started, I learn a little bit about how you got started in this whole fitness industry. And like I said, I saw your pictures and I'm like, wow, I'm so impressed with how in shape you are. It's like, my God, I wish I could have that kind of body. So
No need to wish.
uh,
No need to wish. Everyone can have a good body.
well, that's what we're going to talk about, because it's not
Yeah,
just about weight loss. I kind of
right.
first want to get to know a little bit about, like you talked about how you broke the genetic code. I want to know a little bit about how you got started and what motivated you to get into the business, to the fitness industry.
Yeah. No, that's a great question. So, if you were to read my book, Breaking the Chains of Obesity: 107 Tools, my mother actually came up with that title. She said, after reading your book, it would be really wise to call this Breaking the Chains of Obesity, because she personally struggled with her weight her whole life. I've had body dysmorphia growing up, even though I was an athlete growing up. As a woman, it was tough to ever be where you wanted to be. You always wanted to be better. And you always looked at the other girls that were super skinny, eating pizza and whatever the heck they wanted. And you're like, how did they get away with that? And here I am dieting and I can't even lose a pound. So, I went through that whole cycle my whole life. And like I said, I was an athlete growing up. So even though my diet wasn't great, I was never obese or overweight myself, but I did have excess body fat growing up. So, with my book, Breaking the Chains of Obesity, it's exactly what it is. If you look at me now, I'm super lean. I have good muscle tone. I'm 45. I have 2 young kids, and I learned the tools on how to essentially turn off the genetics associated with obesity. But you asked, how did I get started at that? Thankfully, I was in the athletic world prior to doing this as a career. My father was an athlete growing up, and he put a lot of pressure on us as kids being the best athlete ever. So, we could get into a whole different conversation about that. But as a career, I actually ironically wanted to be an actress on Broadway. And Dad stopped me in New York City back in the day, said, when are you going to get a real job? And no offense to any of my friends or anyone that I know who's in the industry. But I actually took that very seriously, because my dad was shaming me, and I'm like, wow, what should I do with myself? And then 9/11 happens. Ironically, that same exact year he asked that question, 9/11 happened. I was literally uptown, auditioning for a show. But by then I was actually a trainer. I was training clients on Wall Street. Instead of waiting tables, I was a trainer until I made it in the industry. And then 9/11 happened. So, after 9/11 happens, I dove deeper into the industry and I got into management in the fitness industry. I evolved into medical weight loss. And then that got me into age management medicine. So without spending too much time about that, anybody could, read about me, read my book. If you want me to elaborate on all that stuff, I just know that we have so much to cover, and I'm like so excited to, share why having the foundation of optimal health is why I was able to get through to where I am today in good health and in good spirits.
Yeah, that's what really impressed me, and not only your past experience, but then also your mental and physical resilience with it. So
Yeah, thank you.
Getting into the whole epidemic of obesity, there's obviously an epidemic of obesity right now. There's a lot of people struggling, and the average weight for a woman 45 years old is a lot higher than yours, obviously, right? And
Yeah.
but what I'm noticing, as I'm also struggling with losing weight and being older, and how certain hormones and a lot goes into being fit. So,
Right.
and it's not just about exercise. So how do you deal with that? And what do you think is the contributing to this epidemic of obesity in this country? And
Yeah.
probably worldwide, really, but really in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, and I don't want to sound like I'm promoting my stuff, so please forgive me for bringing it up, but it's like there's so many books and so many gadgets and gizmos and programs and all this stuff that people are signing up for with the hope that they can actually attain their goal of being in optimal health and being fit and looking like Jay-Z, right? That's me. But there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of work that goes into that. I don't wake up every day and I'm just me, looking good. Okay. It's the foundation of optimal health that I have built all of these years, and I've gotten only better. As I get older, I'm focusing on getting better. I'm not focused on, once you're 40, you're supposed to have aches and pains. Once you're 40, skin's supposed to sag and I'm supposed to gain a bunch of weight. Once I'm 40, I get more fat. Once I'm 40, I'm not thinking as clearly. Once I'm a mom, I have mommy brain. Like, I don't accept any of that narrative. And I think that that's a very strong reason why I am where I'm at. But I actually teach people that. And, during COVID, while the rest of the world was going nuts and anxious over what is this disease? How do you get better? How do I not catch the disease? I actually found out right the week before the whole country shut down, I found out I was pregnant with my second child. So if anyone understands how stressful that was, your doctor's telling you all the time, you don't want to get this, especially with a kid in there. The kid could be impacted. You might not have the kid. Who wants to be told that? And by that age, I was 42 years of age. I was 42 being told this. I'm advanced maternal age. But in my brain, I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, obviously I'm not licking the streets to get this disease. Obviously, I'm wearing a mask because that's what the experts are saying. Obviously, I'm only going out when I have to go out versus I'm going out just to go shopping and get a couple of blouses. Obviously, I'm doing everything I can to stay fit during this pregnancy, which is what I teach other women. But there's this underlying thing that we have to believe what we want to happen in our lives. And, I wrote a course called the Jay-Z Fitness Lifestyle course while the world shut down, while I was pregnant. And I shot the course while I was 6 weeks pregnant with a guy who I didn't want to know that I was pregnant because he knows a lot of people that I know, but he's in marketing and I wanted him to help me with the course. And I'm like sucking it in and trying to like look all fit without him knowing I'm pregos. And, we pulled it off. And I told him once I announced to the world, hey, by the way, I'm pregnant. He's like, I was pregnant when I shot the course. He's like, what? He's like, you don't look pregnant. When I look at the videos, I see pregnancy because don't forget, I had body dysmorphia growing up. So every little inch is like, it feels horrible mentally. but I didn't feel horrible. That wasn't it. It was more like, does everybody know who's watching my course that I'm pregnant? It's more like, are they going to think I'm a little on the thicker side? And I had to get over that narrative. Okay, so how do you do this? It's literally the Jay-Z Fitness High Five. And I call it the Jay-Z Fitness High Five because that's just me. I'm the one who teaches it, but it's not new information. It's not like I came up with it. I didn't reinvent the wheel. It's optimize your nutrition. Okay, well, what should I eat? Everyone's different, but the foundation's the same, which we could dive in if you want to. You got to stay hydrated. Okay, your cells, every single cell in the body requires water. The second you move your spine, there's water displacement. Every time you move, there's water. Okay, if you want good cellular health, your face to look good, your skin to look good, that's water. Number 3 is fitness. I just got off a phone call with a client. I told her you have to work out every single day. And I'm not talking about high intensity interval training, hardcore lifting heavy weights, but you got to do something fit every single day without fail, whether it's taking your steps every single day, whether it's going for an aggressive walk, whether it's going for a swim and timing the swim or timing a run, a 1 mile challenge, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's yoga, Pilates, you name it. Do something fit that you enjoy every single day. It doesn't have to be for an hour. It could be 10 minutes. Do something fit. Number 4 is going to be your sleep. We got to get our sleep. There's no such thing as catching up on sleep. If you didn't sleep yesterday, your body's going to take a couple of days to bounce back. And that's just a reality. And as you get older, that's the one thing about age is your body isn't as resilient if you're not doing the 5 anchors and just for the mere fact that you're a little older. And then number 5, which is where you come in, Doc, is me management. How do you manage your nervous system? Because if your nervous system is all over the place and you're not honing it in, I hear a dog in the background. If you let your dog on, off the leash on your yard, it's going to just run free. And that's what happens with our thoughts. So there's many times that I'm coaching people and I actually tell them, you got to work with a therapist or somebody who works with your psychology, because by you having your nervous system be erratic, you can't necessarily do the other 4 anchors effectively.
Beautifully said. You're speaking to preaching to the choir, because that's my philosophy. And it is, like I said, it's more than that. It's more than just working out, because if your hormones are not balanced, if your blood sugar is too high, if you have insulin resistance, if you have too much inflammation in your body, you can do all the working out you want. It's not going to really make a difference. But besides the superficial reasons we should work out, I also preach that motion is lotion for our body. We need to move in order for us to not be stiff. I do my sun salutations every single morning just to stretch my body, and I'm as flexible as I am at my age because I've been doing it for 20 years. Yeah. But besides the superficial looking good at a certain age and being fit, why should we be concerned about physical health impacting our mental health? Because I do believe there's a connection. So I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. And literally, I just had this conversation twice. I spoke with a patient earlier and a personal client. So everyone thinks mind over body. It's actually, there's a synergy that's happening at all times. If you're fit, look at an athlete. I don't know if you know a personal athlete out there, but if you know any athlete, whether they're recreational or whether they're elite level or whether they're professional, not one athlete do you meet has major mental health issues that you see. I'm not saying they don't have it, but they never ever enter a room, down. They're like literally standing up tall like a champ. They're standing up like a superhero. And in fact, superheroes never sit like this. I'm here to save the day. They're like, I'm here to save the day. Because as soon as you lift your physical body and you have the muscle tone, your physiology from internally is like, banged up to 150% because you take care of yourself. Your brain is like, oh, okay, well, she's standing up tall. I'm happy. But the second you look down, it's like, of course you're going to feel depressed because you're depressing your physical body. So it's like, if you're fit, not if, but when you're fit, all of your cells are so alive. And when your cells, you got billions of cells in your body. When those suckers are thriving, this thing is like, yeah, now we're in business. But when this is like driving through molasses where you get out of bed, you're like, oi, okay, the brain's going to be like, yeah, no, I feel you. That stinks. So that synergy is ongoing. Now, a lot of people are like, let me get motivated to go to the gym. That's up here. You can't live up here. I tell people, take the elevator down. Okay. You may not want to wake up and go to the gym, but I guarantee you when you leave that gym, no one has ever said, I regret coming to your class today, or I regret personal training with you today. Not once in the 25 years I've been an expert. Okay. Because that's how powerful it is to be fit and to just give fitness to your body. So it actually starts down here, and this is the follower, not the leader.
Exactly. You're never going to be motivated to get up early in the morning and just go do it. You just have to do it. And I practice what I preach, because I tell myself sometimes I don't feel like going for a walk and taking my dog or going on the treadmill or the elliptical. Yeah. But I tell myself, do it for 5 minutes. And if you don't feel like doing it, stop. You have control. You don't have to do it. Nobody's putting a gun to my head to do it. But like you said, I have never, ever felt regretted getting on that treadmill.
Right.
Or have I stopped at 5 minutes, right? It just keeps going.
Right.
Now, we talked about inflammation and you talked about stress, and yeah, there aren't a lot of people that are physically fit and mentally unhealthy. And there are a lot of people that are mentally healthy. They're also mentally healthy because they are taking care of their body. It is a connection between, it goes both ways. But stress happens. You have a story to tell about everything that you've gone through. Stress happens, inflammation happens. Stress and inflammation are the top reasons of a lot of disease in this country right now. A lot of problems stem from stress and inflammation. You went through a lot. So before talking about how to manage the stress and inflammation, can you tell us your story about what you went through and all that you went through and how you managed it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I take a deep breath, right? So, and this is why I originally reached out to you, because I love your work. I think what you're doing is amazing. And, every single person, should have access to you on some level. So thank you for your work. If I wasn't fit, this past year would have been a complete disaster on so many levels. And I feel like as long as you're alive and you could pinch your skin, you're going to feel pain. No matter what. Okay. So anybody who's striving for the perfect life with no problems is going to set themselves up for failure and a ton of disappointment. And you're actually going to lead the narrative of my life stinks. But guess what? With a very strong physical being, by being fit and doing, the 5 anchors that I talked about, you could handle anything. I'm not saying you're going to want it. Like, come on, problems, come my way. At no point are we like, oh, okay, I'm okay that this is happening to me. But you build up a resilience by you being fit. So it's not the other way around, okay? I'm a big believer in a higher power. I didn't turn to my higher power when I had these problems. I already had that foundation in place. So there was that. There was the physical fitness. There was, the mental health stuff. I come from a family of therapists. My mom, my sister, my uncle, they're all in the mental health therapy background. But I've also done work myself with, he's not a therapist, but he's a mentor of mine, and he has a psychoneurology background. And I should tell you more about this doc when we get a chance. He invented his whole own field of psychology, which is amazing. But with that said, with all of the stuff that I've built up to this year, which is, at the time I was 44, which, is not that much younger, with 2 young children, I moved 5 times within 1 year, 5 times. I'm talking about full on move all the stuff out and in and out and in 5 times with 2 young kids. People complain to me when they have to move once. The reason why it was 5 times and not once was because I had to sell my house all the way up in LA. We decided to relocate to Orange County. So I had to sell that house, but in order to sell it, I had to leave because it was a tiny place and I didn't want kids' toys all around. So I came up with the brilliant idea, let's rent a place for 1 year, sell that place, free up the liquidation, put a down payment on my next house. So that's what we did. So that was one move, okay? We moved to Huntington Beach, California from LA. With that said, we had a lot of problems with that house. We had termites, you name it. The house was gross, but I just wanted to live there for a year. And I just dealt with what I had to do. I channeled my nervous system. I said, you're going to get past this. I even had that expectation going into it We're not here forever, hun. It's a little bit run down, but guess what? Places are super expensive. I'm not throwing my cash out on a rental when I want to pay a good down payment on a nice house for, us and our children. So the second move was 8 months later when I found my house, which is where I'm sitting. Okay. It was my daughter's birthday a couple weeks ago. And so that was our second move. So LA, Huntington Beach, and then we live in like the Tustin area. So that's 1, 2, 3 moves, right? We pack every single box in the house. There were boxes all the way up, and that could be stressful for people. But I decided, you know what, it is what it is. Let's, tear away a little bit at a time. I said to my husband, by this date, we're going to be done with all the boxes. And we were. There was a garage sale in the community. We participated, sold all the boxes. Literally a week after that, my house flooded. A week after that, my house flooded. And literally it was 2 days before the house flooded. I told my husband, my schedule is through the roof busy. I can't handle anything else. And then the sewer line backed up into the master bedroom. This is a 1962 home. I knew I was going to buy a fixer-upper. We did a lot of renovations. I put about 35, 40 grand in renovations, and 15,000 of those, that money was in flooring. And I had to throw all those floors in the garbage. I also had about 2 feet of water. I have my purse in my bedroom I kept just as evidence how far up that water came. Some of it was dirty. Some of it was from the toilet that was clean. It was everything. I had to call my plumber down the street. He's like, there's nothing I could do. You got to file a claim. I was very stressed out that night. I'm not going to lie to you. I wasn't like, okay, let's handle it. Realistically, your nervous system is going to go up there. But the question becomes, are you going to keep yourself in fight or flight? Because if I did, the next morning, which is what I did, I trained my clients and I handled this 1 hour at a time. I said to my husband that night, it was 11 o'clock at night to be exact, we need to make this seamless for my clients. I don't want them to even understand what we're going through because I need to pay the bills. We got this huge mortgage now. We're sending the kids to preschool. So everyone gets in their head about what they need to do and the stress. And I said, nope, just focus on what you got to do. Just focus on that. Focus on resolving this. And that's what I did. I ended up having a strong team of people to mitigate the problem right out of the gate within 48 hours. And then the question becomes, okay, well, who's going to rebuild my house? Then you have to deal with the insurance. The insurance gives you a hard time. That was hard. I'm not going to lie to you. That was in the end of July. You don't get to move into another fancy house right after that. Insurance says we're going to put you up in a hotel. And I said, time's out. I have 2 kids that I just spent 2.5 years sleep training. My daughter's, she was at the time 4 years old. She needs her own room. She's got white noise. He's got white noise. We need a place that's X amount square feet, X amount of bedrooms. So there's those logistics. By the way, I'm still working and I work a lot. I couldn't handle anything more 2 days before the flood. And my husband's like, he's like, I'm managing the kids. I'm managing this. Now we're in a hotel, but it was the presidential suite in, what was it? The Hilton we stayed at? It was the Hilton in Irvine, right by their school. So I'm like, okay, well, we're on vacation, kids. So I found the joy in what we were dealing with, and I still had to train my clients. I had to find internet, couldn't sit in that courtyard. Nope, this is closed, can't do that. I got to train, I got a flood in my house. Sorry, ma'am. I dealt with every single barrier you could possibly imagine, and I still said, let's win, Jay-Z. Let's win. You got this, okay? Just focus on what you need to get. And I just navigated through the noise until I got to a solution, and then there. I'm not saying 24/7 I was at peace doing my namastes, okay? It was uncomfortable, but I'm fit, and fit people look to win. We don't focus on the problem. We focus on the solution, okay? If I'm playing a tennis game and she gets a point, I'm like, okay, how does she do that? And what do I need to do differently? That's the athlete coming out, okay? So now fast forward, we had the presidential suite. Hotel says, you know what? I don't know how much longer you plan on being here, but we have a party that's going to use that room. You need to leave. And I'm like, well, wait a second. We're going to be here for a month. We'll move you temporarily to another room. I'm like, wait a second. That room's too tiny. We can't do that. I'm on the phone. I'm not joking. At least a dozen times with insurance. I said, listen, I can't stay in this hotel. They don't have room for us. They got 2 rooms separated by a hallway. They're not going to be comfortable. If they don't sleep, I don't sleep. If I don't sleep, I can't function the next day. well, ma'am, this is all we got. So I called the insurance, and I called the insurance, and I called the insurance, and I called and called and called. I was relentless. And finally they said, you know what, we found a house for you. We need to get approval from the landlord. I said, get approval. What do they need? Tell me what they need and I'll get it. Again, solution. It's like I'm literally reliving this as I'm talking about it, which is why I don't like to talk about problems. I focus on solutions, because then you're just like burying yourself back in the problem. But anyway, it's exciting to share with you because I'm on the other side. So anyway, we ended up getting the house, but the guy needed the money in his hands from the insurance company. And it was a huge down payment on the house that I didn't want to go into my savings account. So I said to the insurance, overnight it, figure it out. And they did. And the guy let me put my stuff in the garage. So we were halfway moved in the night before. So now that's 4 moves, right? We moved from the hotel into this house. Everything's in a pod, by the way, in the house that I'm sitting in that got flooded. And, fast forward, we're now in September. So September comes, kids start school. We got all that grinds. Fast forward, and I teach fitness for the preschool once a week. And it's so much fun. I love these kids. I've never in my life worked with 3 and 4-year-olds, but they're so cute, right? It was a Friday morning. I get a phone call from Alan. Millie is no longer with us. And I'm like, Millie is my son's best friend. She's 2.5 years of age. She was walking with her parents in a stroller, and Asher, the brother, had to pee, and he's, in the process of potty training. I mean, he's potty trained, but he has to pee. Pees on the floor. It's 8:00 at night. So the father is holding Millie's scooter because she left the scooter at a place that the mother works at. And they're like, do you want to take the scooter? It's been here for like 2 weeks. Yeah, we'll take the scooter. Yeah, but I'm going to carry it. Millie, you're going on the stroller. It's 8:00 at night. They're walking about 2 miles back home because they always walk. Everywhere they go, they walk. And when he went to the bathroom, Millie got out of the stroller. She's 2.5. She could manipulate her way through the stroller. And she took the scooter and went right into a car that was leaving the driveway. And she didn't make it. And that is when I was like, wow. Whew. That struck me so damn hard, dude. Like, I'm crying about it now because I'm like, that, like a 2.5-year-old casket, man, no one should ever see that.
That's devastating.
Okay. And then the question becomes, how do I teach my kids about this?
Yeah.
Right. So I went to a grieving session because as parents, we had to learn how to tell our kids. And it was the most powerful session I've ever gone to. You basically tell children what they ask. And I'm sure you teach parents that. It's like, you just want to tell them out of the gate, Millie's gone, da-da-da. Nope. She didn't ask, I don't tell her. Simple as that, okay? And it's evolved over about 3 or 6 months because eventually my daughter, who's best friends with their son, he started telling my daughter she's dead. She's with God, okay? Mm-hmm. And my daughter started asking more questions. But anyway, I had neighbors coming up to me when they saw me with the contractors. I'm so sorry, your house. And I said, you know what? This is nothing. My friends just lost their daughter. This is nothing. I'll take this any day of the week. Okay. And that built up my resilience with the house. Even though I had it even more because this is nothing. So that was October. Okay. I think it was October 28th to be exact. Then we had the stress of moving out of our rental by January 31st. We had to be out. Okay. And the contractors were dragging their feet. Okay. It was a great company, but they were dragging their feet because they were like, oh, we're ahead of this. We're good with time. I said, I can't have you guys in my house finishing the house when I have kids in the house. It's too much dust. We don't want people. Don't worry about it. Fast forward. The nightmare came true. They're in my house, doing my house. And at that point I had to say, it is what it is. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, stress about it? Like, just, it is what it is. They didn't finish. Okay, move on. Every day I told myself that. The toilet that flooded had leaks in it, and it was a brand new line. Why is a brand new pipe leaking? No one knew. Don't stress about it. They're going to have to come until it's fixed. Would you believe this past week it leaked again?
Wow.
Right. So, but they fixed it. I'm not worried about it. Okay. That's all January 1st. It led into last week, which was like a 5-month window because it was fine in February. But March 24th, I wake up to train my clients for a 6:15 session, and I wear earplugs and a little mask. Okay, it's like the spa. And I wake up, I take my earbuds out, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm like, I thought I took that out. I couldn't hear.
Wow.
So I'm like, I can't be late for the session. I'm not going to wake the husband up. You're going like that. I'm like, okay, I don't want my clients to even know that I can't hear right now. I could hear in this ear. I couldn't hear in my right ear. So I trained them. And then I had another session right after, and I had to train him. And actually it was a brand new client who I used to work with. I was a counselor in the clinic. And so I knew him, but I don't want him to see that I'm a little off. Your balance is off. You feel nauseous when you lose your hearing because that's your equilibrium. So very long story short with that, I went to urgent care that day. They misdiagnosed me with what they called eustachian tube dysfunction. He didn't even explain what that meant, but I said, okay, put some nose spray, both ear, boom. Okay, what does that do for the ears? Oh, it goes in there and it's like, it'll help. I'm like, okay. I had to coach a bunch of classes on Sunday. I almost canceled because I was just off. Head coach is like, I got you, I'll coach for you. And I ended up coaching, okay, with one ear. Now, fast forward to Monday, I called my insurance company. I said, I don't know what's going on. I can't hear for 3 days now. I need to get into an ENT. They send me the list. I called 10 ENTs, ear, nose, and throat doctors. None of them can get me in. Finally, on the 10th call, I said, listen, you're my 10th phone call. Get me in on your schedule. Please get me in. I can't hear. I'm 45. I'm super healthy. I have 2 young kids at home. And he's like, just come in. I came in, he's like, yeah, I need you to get an audiology test. And my audiologist is on vacation. I'm like, really? He's like, go to this place, they'll test your hearing. And I said, okay. So they were booked up. I said, you need to get me in. This was on a Monday. On Tuesday, they got me in. So Tuesday I go in and the guy says to me, listen, it's bad news. You have 0% hearing in your right ear. So there's a difference between hearing sounds, like I heard sounds faintly, but if you came and spoke to me, Jay-Z, how are you? I would hear, it was word recognition was 0%. And I just turned to the audiologist. I'm like, well, what does that mean? He's like, it means you're going to need a hearing aid, but take this test back to the doctor. I'm like, hearing aid? But let's get this back. So I took the thing back to the doctor and he's like, this is bad. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm being transparent, but you're at 0%. He's like, we'll do our very best to get some of this back, but it's pretty bad. I'm like, so again, nervous system was elevated, stressed out. I'm going to be deaf. I'm so young. Is that what 45 looks like? I just turned 45 a month ago. Like, is this what this is about? And I got into that space that I never live in. And I said, no, that's not what it's about. Just as quick as I went deaf, I'm going to get my hearing back. Even if it's 50%, I'll take anything. What do I need to do, doc? I'm going to give you 60 milligrams of prednisone for 30 straight days. Let's see how that works out for you. I'm like, okay, so wait 30 days to see if it comes back. He's like, let's wait about 10, 12 days and then we'll see. I said, is that all we can do? What is the most aggressive treatment that's going to almost guarantee some hearing back? He's like, well, we don't usually do this right away, but if you want to, you can call these 2 numbers and see if they can do these intratapenal injections where it goes through the eardrum all the way to the nerve and puts steroid right into the site in conjunction with the steroid, systemic steroid, the prednisone. I said, okay, sign me up. So I convinced a whole medical team at UCI who's super busy to get me in the next day. I called, they're like, we could see you Friday. I said, no, you need to see me tomorrow. We need to save my ear. Okay. Because this other doctor said you caught it early enough. That's the good news. The bad news is you're 0%. So fast forward 6 weeks of steroid injections twice a week. I got my second hearing test back and it was at 95%. Okay. And then I got one more injection. 1 week later, I got another audiology test and it got back to 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When you get tested, you get tested. Like that was a lifetime worth of tests in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And the fact that you had the mental resilience to get you through it. I tell my patients this all the time. I'm like, the goal for my patients and my therapy practice is for you to get so solid on the inside that no matter what happens outside of you, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
That when you have that kind of mental and physical resiliency, it's like being a monk, right? You're not reactive to everything that's happening outside of you. You understand that things are going to come at you. You understand that it's going to happen. You're not expecting a perfect world, like you said. And I like the saying that people say that people that live in good times, it creates weak men. It creates weakness in us because we're not challenged. We're
Right.
not, our resiliency isn't built.
Yeah.
And normally we don't go through everything you went through in 1 year. My God, that's a whole lot of stuff in 1 year. But thankfully you were mentally resilient and you were physically fit and you were able to handle it and you had the support system. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you, I mean, also you focused on the solution. Like you said, a lot of people go, woe is me. Why me? What happened?
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't love me, whatever the mental stuff gets in the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah. What
Focus
can I
on
do
the
about
solution.
this? And you know what I think it is? I don't think people understand what it is to feel their way through trauma. I think that on some level, people need to understand. It's almost like I didn't turn to God and say, hey, I'm one of your people. Can you, like, I already had a really strong foundation with God and I wasn't raised that way. I think that people, and I don't want to make this a whole, you have to be religious thing, you know, because I know some religious people who are some of the negative people that I've known. So, you know what I mean? It's religion isn't the only thing. We're on this planet, and like you said, the environment is going to happen around us. As long as you could pinch your skin, it means you're alive. I mean, back in 2001, when the entire world was running away from Wall Street because of 9/11, God brought me uptown for an audition because I was a personal trainer on Wall Street. Okay. If I was down there, I would have had all that debris on my skin running away from that for my life, not knowing where to go. But it took 9/11 to see a whole city come together and to feel their way into love and compassion, into acceptance. It didn't matter who you were. The whole city, we would see each other on the subway and just give a hug if we needed it. Okay. I lived 2 blocks away from the street that they evacuated when 9/11 happened. So Orchard Street and South was completely evacuated because it was too toxic to smell this stuff. And anything north, you weren't evacuated, but you still smelled it. What's 2 blocks? That's not going to heal you or exempt you from the fumes. And the building I lived on, when you go to the roof, you could actually see the buildings still burning. At the time I was dating a physician, they closed down the city block around Beth Israel and no one showed up because everyone perished. The only people who came a couple days after were the rescue workers, okay, because they would get hurt and whatnot. But everybody else passed away. Okay. So we saw face after face, all these people. And, you know, that's what catapulted me to move to California. Okay. Because I said to myself, man, you weren't on Wall Street that day. You were up in an audition. I remember I was supposed to get a audition that particular day. You know how I found about 9/11? People don't realize this. There's 50 million satellites in the air now. So we don't need anything physical per se to let our phones work. Okay. But that tower had an antenna. And because the cell phones were not smartphones, when that thing came down, all cell phone service was done. So everyone called me thinking I was at work. And I wasn't at work. I was uptown. So everyone's crying on my voicemail, please call me back. Please, we're so worried about you. Are you okay? And I couldn't call them back. Now, back in the day, you could go to a ground line and call the cell phone voicemail to see who called you. So fortunately, I did that. I'm like, oh my God, people are probably worried about me. My mom, my dad, my ex, all these people. And I called them. I'm like, I'm okay. I'm not even down there. Oh, good. Thank God. Okay. But that is where I realized, man, you know, as long as you're alive, everything's okay. Everything's okay. As long as you're alive, it doesn't matter what happens to you. You know, I have friends, she was told by the doctor, she's laying in the hospital bed, there is a 1% chance that you could survive this cancer. She had cancer. It was all over her body. You know what she told the doctor? I am that 1%. and she's with us today.
Wow.
15 years ago.
It's funny that you brought up the 9/11 in New York. I was just in New York 2 weeks ago, actually talking about how we can actually thrive in the face of childhood trauma. I mean, I shared my own experience growing up in Afghanistan and coming to this country and enduring war and migration and all that, but also talked about other people that are very famous people that talk about the trauma that they had growing up and how that built their mental resilience. Like two people that come to mind, like Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about how he came from poverty and had nothing and had an abusive father, and he channeled all of that rage into bodybuilding and becoming very, very disciplined mentally and physically, and that helped him become who he is.
Yeah.
Andrew and Tristan Tate are two other examples of being kickboxing champions and being social media influencers today, but they use discipline to help them mentally and physically thrive. And even when they were in prison for 3 months, they're talking about how that was an opportunity for them to build their mental resilience, regardless of how people feel about them. I just wanted to learn more about who are these people? Why are they in the news so much? And the more I dive into them and the more I get to know them, it's just everybody needs to get to know them on their own level, but they're very disciplined people.
Yeah.
And that's basically what you're talking about, being very disciplined as an individual, because that discipline is the common denominator for all these people, regardless of what their background is.
That's right.
I'm not necessarily athletic. I'm not, I mean, I used to ride my bike everywhere. I mean, I walk and I'm not an athletic fit person that way, but I'm very mentally fit. I've been training my brain since I was in my teens because I did have social anxiety. I did struggle with OCD. I did struggle with all these things that I had no idea what they were. So I read and I trained my mind and I pushed myself and I challenged myself so that I can become better and I can overcome. And as I healed, I started healing other people. And that's how I ended up in this field. And it's funny that a lot of people make fun of psychologists. They're like, oh, psychologists are so full of problems. It's like, we all have problems. It's just that psychologists and mental health professionals, we actually do something about it. We actually don't want to be debilitated by our problems. We work on them. And because we're able to transform ourselves, we're able to transform other people. And that's kind of your example of you overcame a lot of the issues that you had and you were able to transform your body and your mind. And now you're training other people.
Yeah.
But this 1 year was, I hope, a one-off for you, that I hope you don't have that level of difficulty.
Thank you. I'm done training.
Hopefully, I like the saying that God doesn't call the prepared, he prepares the called.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you're being prepared for something. And so I hope it's something great.
It should only be something great for us all.
Yes. So I know that you, as a mom, you work full time. How do you manage the stress? How do you handle all of this?
Well, first things first, I don't look at anything as stress. And when it starts to, be called stress, I have to change the narrative. I mean, it's all in the way we look at things. I was standing in the hallway. I just trained a client in the Grand Californian, which is in Disneyland. And I said, okay, if I look this way, that's down the hall. But if I look this way, there's your room. Okay. So it depends on what your perspective is. And I think that as long as you focus on stress, you're going to feel stress. But if you focus on a beautiful road to whatever you want it to be, it's like essentially whatever you want to be in your life is what you should focus on. So take my sister, for example. She's an athlete as well. She plays tennis. She's a 4.0. She says to me the other day, this girl is so good. I don't even expect to win. I said, well, you're certainly going to lose with that attitude. Okay. It's like, you just literally might as well not even get on the court. Okay. You have to choose winning. I chose, I'm going to heal the heck out of this ear. I'm going to focus on healing, healing, healing. That's it. There was nothing in the way of focusing on getting my hearing back. But what if you didn't get it back? People say, then I focus on that when I have to. When you play a sport, you don't say the opponent's great. That's going to worry you. It's going to deteriorate your performance. Stress, to me, as long as you're alive, there's stress. Okay. Everything in life is up and down and up and down. If you're like, it was a busy day, that's stressful. My kid is sick, that's stressful. My car broke down, that's stressful. I have a nail in my tire. I don't have time to go to get my car, the tire changed. That's stressful. Everything in life is stressful if you want to look at it as stressful. But if you're like, well, as long as I have a car, and as long as I'm driving on the road, and as long as there's nails on the road, I might get one in my damn tire. As long as you could change the narrative and change your perspective, just go to the dealership. Okay, I don't have time to go to the dealership. How do you find time to go to the dealership? How did I find time to go to the doctor when I lost my hearing? Okay, you have to focus on what you want. I think that a lot of people have to get that in their nervous system so that when they go to your sessions, and I'm sure you already do this, you're doing almost like a drill with them. Let's take you through the drill of feeling good. I've literally sat with some of my clients, okay, and I'm not a therapist, but I sat with my clients. I'm like, I want you to take 3 deep pelvic breaths. Let's close our eyes. Okay, ground yourself. I set up the visualization of a grounded person, sit up real tall in the spine, ears, shoulders, hips. Everything's in one plane. Feel your lower back up against the chair. Take a nice deep breath in. Let your shoulders go. Rest your palms on your thighs. And I take them through this imagery of what breath work should be. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Fill the belly up. Hold your breath at the top and let it go. And once you do that 3 times with your eyes closed, what you're doing is you're taking the camera inward. You're taking out the external cues, that environment externally that doesn't even matter in this space. Deep breath in. Let it go. All I'm doing is I'm taking the sympathetic nervous system down and the parasympathetic nervous system up. And why is that important? Because your body cannot differentiate. Going back to your original question, why is it important to start here? The mind can't differentiate between a tiger about to attack me and me finding out that my daughter, God forbid, broken arm. God forbid, I don't want to put that out there. Okay. The body can't differentiate that. So you have to manage your nervous system all the time. And when it's elevated, because life's going to throw a curveball at you, even though it's elevated, look, that's why we train. When I say to my treadmills, I want you to do an all-out effort. I want you to elevate your heart rate. I want you to be beyond your VO2 max. Bring your heart rate way into that zone where you are tingling. That's your growth hormone acting up, because we have internal mechanisms that regulate the body naturally when we're uncomfortable. Otherwise, we'd blow up and we wouldn't be alive. But our body's built to self-regulate. But you have to put yourself in that environment multiple times in order to develop that endurance mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, okay, in order for that to happen when you really need it.
Well, it's like we talked about how you do need that balance. You need, like, even working out, you're putting stress on your muscles in order for your muscles to grow. We need a certain level of stress in order to grow as an individual, to become better, to become resilient. And it's not that we're never going to eliminate stress. Stress is necessary, but it's how we perceive that stress, like you're saying, and our perception of it needs to change. And a lot of people are like, oh, I have to do this, or I need to do this. And just even switching to, I get to do this.
And even with the all-out effort analogy, this is very tangible. When I tell a treadmill, because I coach part-time at Orange Theory Fitness, it's one of my favorite parts of the week. It's easy. The script is written for me. I just got to coach the script. But there's a methodology to high intensity interval training, which is what it is. So when a treadmill brings their heart rate up into the orange zone, I always tell the treads, all right, I want you to have maximal heart rates over the next 30 seconds. Not one treadmill is like, yay, woohoo, let's do this. No one. They're like,
groans.
Yeah, they're like, oh my God. And I'm like walking behind the tread. So if they're patty caking their way through that interval, I'm like, you might as well go home. I need you to get your heart rate up, because if you want your heart, which is a muscle, to grow and to thrive, you need to train it through a full range of motion, just like you do a bicep curl. Okay. But on the other side of that all-out effort, I'm always going to allow you to walk. Okay. I'm always going to bring your heart rate back down. And in life, when stress is thrown at you, just like that all-out effort, you get to walk on the other side. But please be okay with that level of discomfort. Learn from it. Go through it as a champ. Just focus on, what do I need to do? Okay, what do we got? What do we got? Because on the other side of that, even with the therapy sessions that you provide your clients, on the other side of that is a plan of action. Work the plan of action. After you work it, if it's not working for you, don't say to yourself, I'm supposed to be miserable, or life is just stinks, or whatever the narrative is. No, I'm going to tell, Dr. Sekandari, this didn't work for me. What can I do differently? I want to be even better than last week. Focus as a champ. That's your new perspective. Because if you can do that, not if, when you do that, life is just this big platform of learning. Okay. And I look at it this way. My kids are watching me. They're not listening to what I'm saying. They're watching me. So I'm an example. And now it's my bigger responsibility to be the example for them so that they're great human beings themselves.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Yes. So you are a very busy person. You have so many different hats you're wearing. You're a mom, you're a fitness instructor, you're a coach. What are you working on next? You're an author, you're a course creator, you're all of that. So what are you working on right now?
What I would like to do is I would like to be more seen. I think what I'm working on is to get on more platforms. I'm so grateful that you brought me on to your podcast. I've done, podcasts in the past, but, when we get too busy, our priorities kind of shift. So this next year, I need to be more seen. It's not that I'm hiding. It's just I manage a medical weight loss division for a clinic I work for. I manage all their concierge patients. I have my private practice. I do programs. I have the mommyhood. I do the preschool. The list goes on. And most people will be like, well, I can't do all that. But because I'm fit, I could do all that, right? But if I need to not do something, then I take a break. What I can't take a break on is getting myself out there where more people know about my teachings. I think my master plan is I want to be global. I can't do it by myself, but it's like people like you and people in other disciplines that fall into what I call the Jay-Z Fitness High Five. If we all came together as one big, huge team and we got louder, more people are going to be served. That's my grand master plan is I want to bring, and trust me, there's platforms out there. There's conferences, there's Facebook groups people can follow. But when you talk to individuals and you ask them, you've been to the Tony Robbins, you've been to this workshop, you've done this, why are you still not feeling good? I think there's still something missing. So my next plan is, well, I need to be a bigger voice because if people are following me, now I can understand what it is that they're missing. If they're missing you, oh, I know this wonderful Dr. Sekandari, you got to talk to her. Or if they're missing yoga, oh, I know this great yoga teacher who can give you more flexibility. If they're missing my spine, my neck, I know great chiropractors in your area. The health industry needs to go away from treating the problem and more providing a holistic every single day approach to people so that repetitively people are doing what they're supposed to do. And now they're just feeling good every single day. And if they're inching away from feeling good, they have a better algorithm in place. Because I just think people are all over the place. It's a disaster. There's too much information on the internet. There's too much poor information on the internet. There's too much comparison. People are feeling ashamed. People are not feeling enough. People are comparing themselves. We have to get back to the basics of what is optimal health. I got to teach it and make it more tangible for people. And like I said, I can't do it alone. I'm not like the answer, but I'm very intuitive. I have such a strong passion for humanity that I really feel it's my responsibility to be more of a global figure so that I can lock arms with the dozens of other experts out there that should be heard even more than they already are.
Exactly. My goal for everybody that I talk to is to feel empowered and not feel like one person is the answer. Like I'm not the end all be all therapist for that one patient that I'm working on. I want them to feel so empowered that they don't even need me. I want them to start relying on themselves and knowing that they have all of those, they have it all inside them already. They don't need medication. They don't need to be dependent on long hours in therapy or whatever. They need to start empowering themselves and feel confident. And we need more empowered people, not people that are just fix me with a pill or fix me with a session or fix me with this. It's not just one thing. It's not just one conference. It's about, my motto is prioritizing mental health 24/7.
Correct.
Every decision I make, I have to ask myself, is this going to benefit me? Is watching bad news 24 hours a day, is that going to help me with my mental health? It's obviously not.
Right.
Is surrounding myself by toxic people, is that going to help my mental health? Obviously not. So I have to make a decision and know that I am empowered as an individual to take control of my life. And so that's my goal. I want to come to me and I'll help empower you so you can go out in the world and help empower other people. And that's my goal. And I like that yours is similar. And it's true. There's a sense of dependency, I guess, on pharmaceuticals, on whatever. And it's like, we have it all inside of us. It was your determination and your belief in your ability to heal your ear and your hearing. That's what brought all those doctors together to come and work with you to help you heal. It was you demanding it, knowing that that was possible. Otherwise, you could have said, okay, give me the hearing aid, I'm done.
Yeah. And, by the way, the doctors weren't super positive about my healing either. You were positive doctors, but they weren't confident, is the right word, that the ear would heal. And there was something within me that said, just focus on healing. That's it. That's all you got. Okay. Because when we focus on winning in anything in our lives, we win. Because we have to. And if we lose a game, if we want to align this with sports all day long, a winner doesn't focus on the fact that they lost. They focus on the fact that they learn a very valuable lesson on that field, whatever field that might be.
Well, at anything, it's not a win or lose thing. It's either you win or you learn, right?
Right.
So if you win, that's awesome. But if you didn't, what did you learn from it?
Yeah. What did you learn from it? And I love that you said you don't like your patients marrying them to you. I'm the same way. A lot of people come to me for weight loss, and I've helped a lot of people lose a lot of weight. But for me, the first thing I say, because I have an onboarding process where I don't take everybody on. If I don't think they're coachable, I don't want them to waste their money. And I certainly don't want my time wasted, because my time, I only have 24 hours in the day, just like you and the rest of the world. Okay. I don't mind spending my time with people doing the work, because that to me is like everything. But if you have people fighting back, like I have somebody saying, hey, I want you to check out this nutritionist. I follow them on, whatever, Facebook, wherever, and I follow their philosophy. My answer is, then you need to work with them. If you feel that strong, and it's like 2 days into the relationship, you keep that up for 30 days, we're not re-signing you for another month. And it's not that I think I'm the end all be all, I know everything about nutrition. It's just, you've got to eliminate the noise. When you commit to something or a service, give it your all and trust that that service is right. You determine whether it's right or wrong at the end of the service. Okay. You don't stay in it like, I hope this works. I hope Dr. Sekandari could get me to feel better. No, I'm going to her so I feel better, and I'm going to feel better because I'm going to her. When you focus on that, you're going to feel better. When you focus on losing weight, you're going to lose weight, because I'm going to give you every single tool you need. And if you're not losing weight, that's why you come to me. I'm an expert. I understand what to do. I've been doing this 25 years. Okay.
And like you said, like I'm very open about my philosophy. If you want a quick fix, if you want medication, if you want to rely on that for help, I'm not your person, And so it's true. People that are my patients are very much into a holistic, integrative way of healing. They want to take control of their lives. They want to feel empowered. They want to be like, they're very do-it-yourselfers. Like, give me the information and I'll do it. It's,
yep.
I don't want to create dependency on anything. And so that's my goal. Wow, this was a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad you reached out. Where can people find you if they want to work with you or follow you?
Oh, great question. It's jzfitness.com. So it's J is Jennifer, Z Zerling, jzfitness.com. You can email me through there, or jz@jzfitness.com. You could follow me on Instagram, JZ Fitness Nutrition. Facebook is Jay-Z Fitness. And then what else am I on? Twitter, which I haven't opened that account forever. I'm not really a big social media fan. Like I just don't really do a lot of social media. That's another goal, I guess, of mine, is to get more presence in social media. And it's not even that I'm like private and I don't want to go out there. It's just, I'm so incredibly crowded with helping so many people each and every day of my life that I put so much of myself into that. So that's another thing I want to leave people off with. If you find like someone that you admire constantly on social media, you got to kind of question, how do they have all that time to do that?
Well, a lot of them have people that are running their social media. They're not the ones doing it.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's why I'm not as active as I want to be either, because I have stuff to do and I'm not hiring somebody to speak for me. So, but a lot of celebrities and a lot of those people, they're not really on there. They're just having other people post their stuff.
Yeah. But that's where they could find me. So if they reach out to me through those platforms, I can certainly respond. And I do check that stuff throughout the day, because people do email me through those various platforms. So look, social media has a place. I think that it's really cool to see my high school friends on Facebook and stuff like, so I'm not going to put it down, because it definitely serves a purpose. It gives me the ability to have a voice on YouTube. I do the Jay-Z Fitness. I do videos. I do instructional videos for like biomechanics and stuff. There's some nutritional stuff. But as far as like getting your content from those arenas, I think that people should really understand who's an expert and who's not, and, ask the appropriate questions to figure out what they need for them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people talking about managing anxiety or helping people overcome their anxiety. They're not mental health professionals. They only focus on the Band-Aid approach of, here, do some breathing exercises, do this, do that. Right. That's not going to help you overcome your anxiety. Yeah. And so I'm competing in a way with those kind of people, and they have way more followers. And
that's my point. That's my goal. You just hit the nail on the head. That's my goal, is to get people to follow you, because you actually do the work that changes them. The people who breathe and all that stuff. I just referred somebody to the psychoneurologist. I should put you in contact with him, and he should be on your show, because you guys are going to be like having a blast. All right. But this guy, like, literally, he went for a psychology degree and he ended up taking it to a different place. And I'm sure your practice has a different place, but no one knows what that place is, because they don't know you, because you don't have enough followers.
Right.
We got to change that. So I want to be like the driver of that ship. I want to surface the great people who people should learn that work, because that's the work. It's not the superficial stuff. It's not, I took drugs and look at how skinny I am, and I got a cute husband. Look at how I scored him. And I got 6-pack abs. And, I did a whole post of me dancing in a bikini. It was a week after I carved out. I'm super bloated. And I said, I don't have a perfect body, but my body fat's it was like 21% on my last DEXA scan. Wow. I'm 137 pounds. I'm 5'9". I'm tall. Statistically looks fabulous on paper. But that day I had a little bit of interstitial fluid. And I'm like, that's what people need to see. Because if you just look at, this, where am I? Here I am.
Yeah, right there.
Wow, she is shredded, right. At 45, I have no fillers. Okay. Literally, if you follow those 5 anchors from when you're 20 and work your way through life, you're going to be great. Now, at any other age, I work with people in their 40s and 50s, you could still look great. You have to get out of the narrative of, I'm not this. You are that. You are an athlete. Just bring her out today and just focus on that. Okay. But do your work, the neurological stuff.
Definitely.
The breath work that I gave an example, trust me, I don't take food off your plate to teach people breath work, because quite honestly, breathing is so superficial. It's like a Band-Aid.
It is. It's in the moment. That's it.
It's in the moment. Exactly. Because right away, if that dog is off the leash, the dog's going to run away. Okay. Yeah. You got to leash your thoughts, but you got to know how to do that.
But it's like, if you're using the dog analogy, it's like you have to train that dog that when you call it to come back, it comes back to you.
Correct.
And it is highly trained. And that's how it is. Like, my anxiety brain will never go away. I'm wired for anxiety, but I can redirect my thoughts within seconds now. I make my anxiety work for me. And I think that's the confusion with people following others on social media. Yeah. There's so much confusion for the average person that when they have to choose, like, here's this poor doctor trying to educate me, and she doesn't have a lot of followers on YouTube. And here's this other social media influencer. She's got millions of followers. Well, obviously I'm going to follow her because she seems to know what she's talking about, even though she might not know what she's talking about. And that's the confusion right now.
Right.
And so that is what we're dealing with, but it's about really doing your research and finding out what is their training, what's their understanding. I mean, like you said, are they really thin and fit because they're starving themselves and they have body dysmorphia and they don't know a thing about fitness? Is that why you're following them? Or is it because this person is really trained and they have the education and the training and the knowledge to teach you and get you the results that you want? So
yeah, well, you're going to go global with me and we're going to have a lot of fun. Okay. Because everybody deserves to feel great and thrive. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
Come on, baby.
Well, thank you so much for being here and talking to me. It was such a pleasure talking to you. I'm so glad you reached out. It's so great to know you.
Thank you.
And you're such an inspiration with everything you've overcome and continuing to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. And thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you.